In this week's video, we're going to talk about everything that we wish we would have known when we bought our liveaboard boat.
Everything from boat features to insurance to things that we didn't even know we needed to think about in order to live aboard on a boat.
So here's the story of the Wandering Naps. We're a family of 5 from Texas. Chris and Jolene met in 2nd grade and started dating our freshman year of high school. We got married and moved to Texas. We had 3 boys, Carter, Chase, and Caleb. We loved to travel and fell in love with the water. We decided to sell everything and buy a boat and travel the Caribbean. After selling everything, we traveled coast to coast boat shopping. We finally found our new home in the Florida Keys. We spent 6 weeks in a boatyard, moved aboard, spent another 8 months in a marina, and finally moved off-grid and on anchor. Join us on our adventure.
So I've worked on all different kinds of boats since I've been down here. Trawlers, catamarans, motorboats, sailboats, it doesn't really matter. They all have very similar features, and if you can learn to work on them, it makes a huge difference. It doesn't matter whether it's a 35-year-old boat or like a 2 or 3-year-old boat. It seems like there's always something going wrong. I've run into people that have almost brand new boats, and they put as much time and money and effort fixing and repairing and working on them and accessorizing them the way they want as we have on our 35-year-old boat. I think the biggest thing that surprised me was the boatyards and the way they operate. I haven't run across another business really like them, so it was all new for me. Your boatyard itself will haul you out of the water, and a lot of them just charge for the day to sit there, and they don't have any mechanics that work on staff or anything. That's all subcontracted. So you're dealing with 14 different subcontractors, and they may say that they're the go-between. The first time I thought I was dealing with the boatyard and his mechanics, and it turns out he was just a boatyard, and I had to deal with all the other people on my own, and then he still wanted to put his 20% markup on top of everything that they touched or did. So you got to understand the rules of your boatyard. Is it self-service? Are you going to hire? Can you bring in your own people? Do you have to use the people that they recommend? There's some that even if I bought my own supplies like these, if I pulled it into the boatyard, he wanted to see the receipt and wanted a 20% markup. And so you got to understand what the rules are and what they expect. The first time we went to a boatyard, when we first bought the boat, it was like a $35,000 learning experience. Thankfully, I sat there for 6 weeks and did a lot of the work with the different mechanics and really understood how they started to operate. We're going to be pulling out again here in about the next month, and we've done our research. We called around. We went and visited the boatyards. We interviewed them. We knew exactly what we wanted to do and what we're allowed to do there. And we expect to spend between $3,000 and $4,000 at this time instead of $30,000. Huge difference.
Let's talk about insurance. Insurance is a pain in the butt for liveaboards. I will tell you that right now. They put us in this like special category. Oh, you're liveaboard? Well, hang on a second now. So that's the first hurdle you got to get through. But you cannot lie about it, because if they find out you're liveaboard and you have to file a claim, that will null your claim. You will not get paid. So don't lie to your insurance company about what you're using the vessel for. That's rule number 1. So boat insurance is a little bit of the wild, wild west, especially for an older vessel, liveaboard, traveling around. There's a lot of factors. And what I mean by that is it's not your canned homeowner's policy. Homeowners is a very standard thing. Everybody has it. Car insurance. Do you want this, this, or this? Pick one of them and you go. There's a bunch of things to think about when it comes to insurance. One is your experience. They're going to want to know about your experience. The more you have, the better. The second one is location, location, location. Where your boat is makes a huge difference when it comes to insurability. We are in the Florida Keys at the moment, and when we bought our boat, we were also in the Florida Keys, and that made a big difference for us. Our premium would have been cut in half or a third if we were further north out of the hurricane box. So that is also a huge deal. There are some ways around as far as, our boat is here and we're home basing here, but we're going to be traveling into these locations. Those are some ways around. For us, we're liveaboard, always moving, so we don't have that home base. We don't have a home address that we can claim. So if you've got that, good for you. The other thing that is a big deal is the actual vessel itself. the age, and the conditions of the boat. I just listed 3 things that are important, and because of those 3 things, we were not insurable when we bought our boat. We had the trifecta. We didn't have enough experience on a vessel that qualified. We have a larger vessel, and our experience on the smaller boats, they didn't care about. We're in the Keys, we're in the hurricane boat. We have an older vessel, over 30 years old, and the condition at the time that we bought it, it was not insurable. And therefore, we had to make the decision, are we going to actually buy this boat without insurance? And we did. We were fortunate enough that we didn't have a loan or a boat loan that required us to have financing at closing. So we were able to buy the boat as is, spend 6 weeks on the hard, get it all fixed up. Our surveyor was awesome. Because he knew the situation we were in, he did like a punch list for me. He did a full survey, didn't write a full survey for me. He gave me a punch list and said, when you're done in 6 weeks and you're ready to go get insurance, call me, I'll come back, finish the survey as it currently sits with all the repairs done, and now I've got a good survey ready for insurance. We're currently shopping at the moment, and it is during hurricane season, and we started 6 weeks ago, and we've still yet to get, I think we've only gotten 1 quote. And so we've got feelers out all over the place. I should have 5, 6, 7 quotes by now, and it takes forever, and we're going on 6 weeks. So know that that can take a lot of time. The age of the vessel and where you're going and time of year make a huge difference. Let me give you an example. We have our boat insured for what we paid plus what we've put into it because it appraised for that amount. So I'm just going to share some round numbers with you guys. We bought our boat for $45,000. I stopped counting at like $60,000 that I've put into it. And that was just for parts and what stuff I've paid people to do, not including my time. And I'm sure I've put another 20 grand into it since then. But when we had the appraisal done, or the survey, the surveyed out at right at $100,000. So we were able to get an insurance policy for $100,000. That's why it's so important that you get a survey with an estimate of value when it's in the best condition that it's in. There are folks that we've talked to who bought the boat for a certain amount and didn't have a survey, and all they could get for insurance was whatever they paid for that boat. Yes, they got a screaming deal. It was a $100,000 boat that they bought for $60,000. Well, they can't get more than $60,000 because that's what they paid for it. So you have to get a survey because they want an independent person saying, yeah, this boat is what it is, and it should be worth this amount. Now, we've got what's called a declared value policy. So we have said we want this vessel insured for $100,000. There are people out there, or insurance companies out there, that write different types of policies. So you need to know what you're getting. Is this a replacement value? Is this a current market value? Is it a declared value policy like ours? So you need to check and see, if something happens, how much am I going to get paid? And if it's not written out on a number, as a number on a line, you need to know, how are you determining that value? Because that can make a huge difference. The other thing you need to know is what's covered. We've had people say, well, I can insure your vessel, but I cannot insure it for a wind storm, aka a hurricane. So they'll insure me for anything except for a hurricane or wind loss. So you have to ask those questions. There's certain areas that I can and can't go. If I get in the Cuban waters, insurance policy is null and void. So I have to stay, even though I'm insured in the Florida Keys and the Bahamas and so many miles outside of that, which technically Cuba is within that range, because it's in Cuban waters, I'm not covered. So you got to ask these questions. There's other things, like you would have in homeowners or car insurance, personal property. Again, we're liveaboards. It's not just the boat. Everything I own is on the boat, all my possessions. If this thing goes down or catches fire and goes up in smoke, everything we have, aside from what we may have left on land or a dinghy we got off with or something, is going to be gone. So you got to think, what's that going to cost to replace? There's also things they call it PIP or medical, and personal injury protection or medical. These are if somebody gets hurt on your boat. So depending on what you're doing, you may be using your charter sometime or whatever. If somebody's up visiting on your boat and gets hurt, are you covered? What's the coverage there? Then you've got liability. A lot of marinas require you to have a certain amount of liability. We were at one marina that required $300,000. We talked to another one, they wanted $1 million. Nobody would give us $1 million liability because they're like, you have a 30-some-odd-year-old boat that's worth $100,000. Why would you need $1 million liability insurance? Now, don't get me wrong. There are people that will write it, but you don't want to pay for that person. If you're using your business, or excuse me, if you're using your boat for business, you're chartering it or renting it out or something like that, that could be a whole different type of policy. So you need to know, am I covered in these instances if it's leased out, or if I'm renting it, or if I'm chartering it, or if I'm taking people out and they're paying me as a captain to take them out? All these things you need to ask. That being said, I'm not an expert by any means, okay? You need to be self-reliant and check out things for yourself. Read your policies. Never, ever, ever just sign blindly. Know what you're signing. Okay, next topic. Let's talk rules and regulations on the water. When you're on the water, it's not like driving on your car on land in the United States. There's pretty much the same traffic laws throughout the whole country. It is not that way when it comes to the water. Every state can have different laws, and if you're in the ocean versus if you're inland, they are different rules and regulations as well. So you need to familiarize yourself with where you're boating and what the rules and regulations are in your area. I've just finished my captain's license, learned an absolute ton. Never, ever, ever stop learning. There is a online course through Boat US, wonderful safety course, and it's for your state. So you can go and whatever states you're going to be boating in, do the safety course for that state. I believe a lot of insurance places will help you with a discount because that's an education course. And in some states, they require you to get a boating license. So you need to know what you're getting into before you get into it. Just because you don't know the law or you don't know the regulation doesn't mean you can't be held responsible for it. Definitely got to give a good shout out to my son Carter. Amazing job. He just finished his boater safety course on Boat US. He did a great job. He's literally really looking forward to getting his card in the mail. I'm so proud of him for that. He's already driving our dinghy. I think this year's the year he's going to learn to drive the big boat for sure. Also, we were boated by the Coast Guard, and they went through everything that we were supposed to have. Luckily, I did know exactly what we were supposed to have, and we passed with flying colors. If you want to watch that video of us, check that out in the link here, or it'll also be in the description below. Next topic, let's talk about the boat itself. You have to pick one, right? There are so many different styles out there. How do you know which one is right for you? The most important thing you need to think about, how are you going to use the boat? Not what color is it or what style is it, or I like sailboats or I like trawlers. How do you plan to use the boat, and what's going to best fit your family? All right. We've talked about power and how you use the power in one of our videos. So what size generator and batteries and all those features are okay. That's nice and all. Well, do you want a sailboat or do you want a powerboat? Again, that's how are you going to use a boat? Are you planning on sailing around the world, or just want to cruise through the Caribbean like we want to? So, what are you planning to do with the boat?
Okay, hold on. If we're going to talk about features on a boat, you got to get a girl's input.
All right, let's get a girl's input.
So when we're talking about features on a boat, originally I wanted to buy a boat based on it was pretty, or it looked nice and new, or it was move-in ready, and so there was nice walls, nice floors, nice carpets, nice beds, all of that. I looked at the prettiness. Hindsight is 20/20. Now there are things that I fortunately got and things I didn't get that I wish I would have known when I bought a boat. Number one, I'm living on a boat with 3 children, husband, wife. There's a family of 5 living on this boat. I'm so incredibly grateful I did not settle for a wet head. A wet head is a bathroom where you have a shower in the bathroom with the toilet and everything. We fortunately have a separate standalone stand-up shower. Best thing ever for a family of 5. If you're going to be a family live aboard, I highly recommend you need a separate shower, period. Second thing that I didn't get because I didn't understand, I never been out on the high seas before. Now that we've been out cruising, I'm a little bit of a wimp when it comes to the rocking of the boat. Our limit for boating is always my comfort level, not the wind, water, safety. It's my comfort level. So we are what they call fair weather cruisers only. And I say that because we do not have stabilizers on our boat. That is one feature that I would have today if I was shopping. I would have put stabilizers above prettiness. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share this with your friends. Come back next week as we celebrate our 1-year anniversary living on Illuminate.